Let's start the concept of GraphQL. We have studied REST API. So REST API is a kind of API, and another kind of API is the GraphQL. GraphQL is quite modern API through which we can fetch the data from the server. It consists of two parts. First one is the query, and second one is the runtime. Through the query, we get the data which we required, and it's a kind of instruction which we give to the server. Runtime allows the API to execute this query. So GraphQL provides you these two things. Now, what's the difference between REST API and the GraphQL? GraphQL gives you the flexibility, freedom, and the versatility through the query part. You can want as much as data, as much columns, and you can tweak the pagination according to your requirement. Second part is, in the REST API, if you remember, we have multiple endpoints. Example, you have one API, example.api, example.com underscore products. This is one endpoint of the same API. Second endpoint is customer. Third point is the order. But in the GraphQL, you got this freedom, and here we don't need multiple endpoints. There is only one endpoint required, and to query, you can handle the output or the response. These are the differences. We have discussed most of the differences. Overfetching and the underfetching is feasible to the query part. Flexibility is also due to the query part. Performance, we can optimize the performance as we have the freedom to select the columns, or the we can tweak the batch sizes. So through that we can optimize the performance. Learning curve is slightly higher because these GraphQL systems are quite complex to study as compared to the REST API. Error handling, in the error handling, it don't provide the response code. It provide the proper message. Now let's come to the structure of the GraphQL query. Every graph query has major three parts. First one is the root. Root is the major endpoint which you want to access, or the first level of the data. In the simple terms, you can tell it the first level of data. For example, you want to fetch the planet's data, so root is planet. Second is the argument, the filter which you want. Here I want the details of the planet ID 1. So these are the argument. Third is the field or the attribute which you required from the response. So these are the three parts in which basic GraphQL is defined. Now we will deep dive into each of the part and explore its functionality in detail. To practice the GraphQL, there is a very good resource. You can log in into this graphql.org, and we can do it's a kind of a playground. There you can practice the query and you can test it also. I have opened it here in the second tab. Let's paste this query and look at the result. So we got the result, planet ID 1 and details of the first planet. Now root field, already we have discussed. Root field is the entry point. Here root field is the planet. Second, argument is the planet ID 1. There are two arguments available here, planet ID and the ID. We will have a look at those arguments when we study the document, now fill the required columns or the feature which we want in the output. Now, in every API, major part is to read its documentation. Now, we will study this GraphQL by understanding the document one by one. So, step 1. First of all, we have to find out the root field in the query. Let's go back to the first thing. This is the document first page. In the document first page, you can have a look. Here, we have available root. Click on the root. Here we will get the all type of the root available for this API. Now let's pick only one, planet. For the planet kind of root, we have two arguments, ID and the planet ID. Planet ID 1, we have applied the filter. Similarly, you can apply the ID filter also. And similar to this is the all planet. All planet is also root. We will study about the all planet in the detail in the later lecture. Let's search for the vehicle. Now if you have a look here, in the vehicle we have two endpoints, all vehicle and the vehicle. So we copy paste here. Let's have a look in the detail. All vehicle, this is the arguments in the all vehicle, and the output it will give in the form of this class vehicle connection. If you click on this vehicle connection, then you will get the detailed output for this root. For all vehicle, you will have the output in this format. These available items you can fetch from there. Now let's study each of the item in the detail first. So we have discussed two root. First root is the vehicle. To vehicle, you can fetch only one record at a time. To the all vehicle, you can fetch all records at a time. And there are functions to limitize or create the batch also. Now we have the query. In the query, we are using the root. What is the root here? All vehicle. Inside the root, but we are using the item with the vehicles. You see, vehicles is the item. Inside the vehicles, you will provide the attribute which you want in the response. But you want name and the model. If you want more attributes, that's not a problem. Click on the vehicles and you will get all the attributes related to the vehicles. These are all attributes. Now let's run this. Now we get the output, all the records inside this API. And how we are doing this? We are using the root as all vehicle, and we are using the item as a vehicle inside that, and we are taking the attributes name and the model. Now tell me one thing, is it a good practice to fetch a data all at a one time? Never. It will crash your system or the server. So what we do, we usually divide the data into batches. If you want to see the total counts, then you will explore the item total count. Inside the all vehicle is again root, and the item is here total count. Now run this query. You will get the total number of records available for this API. We can apply multiple items at a one time. If you see the output, first item we have considered total count. So we get the total count as 39, and all the data, all the records we get at a one time only. 39 records will be there. And we are fetching the attribute on the name. If you want the another attribute, you can add that, so that the output also will get all the required attributes. But again, I am saying this is not a good practice to fetch all the records at a one time. We will study the pagination. For the pagination, we have the item page info. You can see the option here, page info. Click on the page info. You will enter into the detailed explanation of this. In the page info, we have 4 attributes: has next page, has previous page, start cursor, end cursor. Before jumping into this, let's study the first few basic pagination attributes which we apply with the root. First one is the first. We are taking first three records from the data. But we got in the output first three records. Name of the first three vehicles. Similarly, out of 39, we get the first three. Now, if you apply the last, then out of 39, you will get the last three. Means 37, 38, 39 number. If you remember, if you have seen my last lectures, then we have studied a pagination, cursor pagination. In the cursor pagination, if we know the value of the cursor, and according to that, we can access the data. So here what we are getting, we are taking the first three elements, first three records after this cursor value. For example, you have these records. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are cursor values. Imagine these are the cursor value. So you are taking first three after cursor value. So imagine you have taken a cursor as 5. So cursor value is 5. Then you are taking first three after 5. So what will be the first three? 6, 7 and 8. Similarly, if we go to the before, in the before, if the cursor value is 5, so before 5, what we do have? 2, 3, 4. We are taking the attributes 2, 3 and 4. Now let's jump into the major page info parameters or the arguments. First one is the hash space. If you are looping the data and creating multiple batches, then you have to somehow figure it out whether this batch is the last batch or not. So there it will help you, hash page. What it is returning? First, this is the root. Inside the root, we have applied the first three elements. We are taking the first three elements. And in that first three elements, we are accessing the name attribute. Then in the page info is the second item. First item is the vehicles. Second item is the page info. In the page info, we are taking the hash space. Whether we do have more data or not. Yes, we do have more data. So we can run the loop again. Hash previous page. This can be used when you are doing the backward data selection. In the last three, you will get the last three name. And with that, you apply the page info hash previous page. If hash previous page is true, it means we have data more data on the backside. So you can run the loop. For example, let's understand with this example. 1, 2, 3, 4 till 37, 38, 39. So you will run the last three. So last three will return 37, 38 and 39 number elements. Now it is saying hash previous page. Like, do we have data on this side more? Yes, we do have. So we don't get the output true. If you apply the hash next page, then it will be false. Look here, false. Because we don't have data up to 39. This is the concept of what we say page info. In the page info, we have what we have seen is has next page and has the previous page. Now come to the cursor part. You want the cursor value also for doing the effective pagination. As we all know, cursor pagination is based on the cursor value. Here we are fetching last three records with the attribute name and with page info, start cursor and the end cursor. To the start cursor, you will get the starting cursor value means this record cursor value, and with the end cursor you will get this record end value. In the page info, you are applying the start cursor and the end cursor. So start cursor value will be of this attribute, this record. The cursor value of this record and end cursor value will be of this record. So you can use this in the here. Let's take an example. to understand the full working of the pagination. We are retrieving the data for the first three records, and we are getting the hasness page and the end cursor. So it will return the first three elements with the hasness page, like we have more data after these three records. Yes, because we are getting true. End cursor will be the value of this cursor value of this record. You can use this record value, cursor value, and use it in the next loop, next iteration. Here, after what we are doing, we are taking first three records after this. Means after third element, we will take the value of 4th, 5th, and 6th element. And in the page info, we will see whether we have more data or not, plus end cursor value. So hasness page is true, means we have to have more data, and end cursor is this. So this is the value of this element, cursor value. And we can run this loop as many as times till this is true. Whenever this becomes false, we can break the loop. That's the concept of page info. In the page info, we do have four attributes: hasness page, has previous page, start cursor, and the end cursor. And page info is the item for all vehicles. We have four items for the all vehicle. Let's go back to the root. What we have studied till now: page info, total count, vehicles. Now what is left? Edges. For notes and for the code, you can download the notes and codes from the GitHub profile. Now let's click on the edges. Edge gives you more freedom. It will give you the cursor value of each record. Here in the page info, you are getting the start cursor value and the end cursor value. But for vehicle edge, you will get the cursor value for each record, each displayed record. Let's have an example. Look, it is giving the cursor value of each three records. For earlier example, in the page info, we are getting either starting or the end cursor. But here we are getting the cursor for each record. This gives you more level of freedom. Now don't confuse with the node. Node is nothing but we are saying what attributes you want. You want name and the model. In the name and the model, you get the values of the attribute. So these are the kinds of GraphQL most common practices. In the most GraphQL API, we follow these similar kind of practices. Sometimes documentation names of the parameter can differ to API, but basic structure, basic blueprint will be the same. If you have any questions, drop a comment. I will surely try to answer that. Thank you.